So hello everyone, I'm Kind of Phyllis, and today we will tackle about the developing business models, which is the cost structure and pricing considerations. So this report explores the crucial aspect of cost structure and pricing considerations within the context of developing a successful business model. So, understanding these elements is essential for achieving profitability and sustainable growth. So, what really is cost structure? Well, cost structure is a structure of a business model encompasses all expenses incurred in producing and delivering its products or services. It is a fundamental factor influencing pricing decisions and overall profitability. So there are actually five components of cost structures. The first one is fixed costs. So fixed costs, these are expenses that remain relatively constant regardless of production or sales volume. So in other words, fixed costs are costs that stay no matter how much product you sell. Okay, to give you an example, it is it includes rent, salaries, insurance, and utilities. Those are the expenses that stays the same no matter how big or like how many products you sell. Okay, to give you another example, um, for example, you have this lemonade store, and then and fixed cost to that if the rent if ever you're renting a place, and then the salaries if ever you have an employee. So those were like the fixed na ng mga costs which di mababago no matter nakita man ano mo business or not, still you're gonna pay for it. The second one is variable costs. So these expenses fluctuate directly with production or sales volume. For example, raw materials, direct labor, and commissions. Also, it's a expenses that change in direct proportion to the volume of goods or services a business produces. This means it increases as production increases and decreases as production decreases. It's all about pricing, budgeting, and profitability. To give you an example, say you have a bakery, and then that includes the flour, sugar, eggs, and butter. It means like the more product you produce, the more ingredients you need, and the more ingredients you need, the higher the direct material or cost. So that is the example of a direct materials, so variable cost. We also have direct labor. So, say for example, yes, paras kanina sa bakery, I mean, if you have an employee na nagtatrabaho, sometimes nag-overtime pa. So that is like something that you have to pay, and also their daily salary. It's a expenses that you have to pay. So the third one is semi-variable costs. So these are costs exhibit a mix of fixed and variable characteristics. So it is a fixed portion remains constant regardless of the level of activity, while the variable portion changes in direct proportion to the volume of goods or services produced. So for example, electricity cost. Of course, if you run a business, that would require you to have like electricity cost. Say for example kanina sa bakery, um, you'll have sa lights, sa electric fan, telephone bills, and then vehicle expenses. If ever you do delivery, and then if ever you have also a different business, an example sa semi-variable cost is internet services or like repair maintenance. So those are under semi-variable cost. So the fourth one is indirect costs. So these costs are not directly related to production but are essential for business operations. Say, for example, marketing, administrative expenses, and research and development. So marketing naman, of course, you're not just gonna have a business and then just babayan lang. Of course, you have to find ways to promote it. Really depends on what kind of strategies you'll do to be able for your business to be known in the public. Also, another example of indirect costs is ang presyo sa an office space, factory space, or warehouse space. And then utilities, for example, gas, water, na use in an overall operation. And then salaries and their benefits, the insurance, and then, as I said earlier, the marketing and advertising. But then indirect costs, those are the expenses that cannot be directly traced to the production or specific goods or services. Then the fifth one is direct costs. So these costs are directly associated with the production of goods or services. For example, raw materials, direct labor, and packaging. Indirect cost is directly linked to particular costs and object, such as product, um, project, or department. Uh, para sa mga materials needed sa inyong business. For example, you have a furniture shop. Of course, the direct cost are woods because you're gonna make a furniture. And then if you have a bakery shop, the direct cost would be the ingredients para makapaghimo ka tinapay. And then if you have a clothing store, the direct cost would be the fabrics you need. So those are the five components of cost structure. So pricing is a critical aspect of business model development as it directly impacts revenue and profitability. So key pricing considerations includes the first one is value-based pricing. So setting prices based on the perceived value of the product or service to the customer. This approach considers factors like quality, features, benefits, and customers' willingness to pay. For example nila, an value-based pricing strategy sa Apple na company. An Apple na company kasi nag-invest good sila sa research and development. So, they create innovative products. Ang ira mga iPhones or like Apple products are totally researched and with sleek designs and seamless integration na ginsusuga sa iba ng mga brands. So, it's because of their costs sa pag-research thoroughly sa your product, of course, justifiable on price sa Apple company. And it's a strong branding. strong branding na an Apple, built on reputation and innovation. The quality is superb, and then an era innovation every product na release nila. Then the second one is cost plus pricing. So adding a markup to the cost of producing or delivering a product or service, this method ensures covering costs but may not be reflect market demand or competitor pricing. So let's say um, you are manufacturing a t-shirt. So and material cost is like $5 on fabric, and then in labor cost is $3, and then overhead costs is $2. So ang total na cost per t-shirt is $10. So ang company nag-decide na karag nila 25% profit margins on each t-shirt. So ang markup calculation is $10 times 0.25 is equals to $2.50. So ang ira selling price na is $10 plus $2.50, which is ang kanina sa markup calculation, equals $12.50. So each t-shirt retails for $12.50. It is to ensure some 25% some profit margin. And number three is competitive pricing. So aligning prices with those of the competitors in the market, this approach can be effective for gaining market share but requires careful consideration of competitor pricing strategies. So competitive pricing is like a strategy for staying ahead in the market. Say for example, airlines industry. So in Southwestern Airlines, known sila sa nila customer-friendly approach, and then free and pag-check bags, free flight changes, and free cancellations, making it a budget-friendly for travelers. While on American Airlines naman, on the other hand, may charges sa nila fees on nila baggage or mag-flight change, and then cancellation. This can make them pricier for travelers. So, which will you choose? Budget friendly or like the pricier option? Then the fourth one is a dynamic pricing. It's adjusting prices based on factors like demand, time of day, or customer segmentation. This approach can maximize revenue but requires sophisticated data analysis and pricing algorithms. For example, an airline. So, uh, let's say Delta Airlines, and dynamic pricing nila is to adjust ticket prices. So, um, naka-base siya sa time of booking and then kung tikain ka. For example, pag last minute na booking, probably higher and prices. Pero pag early, mas lower and fares. So that is example of dynamic pricing. Another example is an Airbnb. So depends era pricing depende sa occasion or event ito na certain place na in demand. For example, holidays or may mga concerts somewhere. It Manera prices actually sa mga hotels are paiba-iba. The fifth one is price sensitivity. So understanding how changes in price affect customer demands. This involves analyzing factors like price elasticity and customer willingness to pay. So price sensitivity naman, there are actually two types: high price sensitivity and low price sensitivity. Sa high price sensitivity naman, um, They are more likely to switch to a competitor's product if the price increases or choose an alternative. For example, pag high price and usa na product na mabaligya, they are more likely to switch na mamili na sila cheaper option, and then mamiling sila mas barato siton na product but like same quality. Really depends. While on low price sensitivity naman, siraan less na affected by price changes. So like they are more likely to remain loyal to a brand even if the price increases, especially if they perceive the product as high quality, unique, or essential. Sometimes it really depends the types and product and availability, sun alternatives.